Good morning. It's a good Monday morning, right? It said take a break and move. I'm like, I just came in here. I did move, right? Anyway, I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're having a good morning so far, at least. And man, today's it. This is the end of October, and tomorrow starts a brand new month, right? November, here we come. Thanksgiving month. Wow, that's awesome. I can't believe it's already Thanksgiving, right? I hope you have plans to spend time with family and loved ones, maybe friends, somebody you know, somebody who loves you over Thanksgiving holidays. So here we go. It's a holiday run, and this is my least favorite time of year, to be honest. It just gets too hectic and crazy for me. So, but that's all right. I love the Thanksgiving holiday. I love the what we celebrate for Christmas. Just the fact that Jesus came. I still am, and this is not what I was going to talk about, but I'm still overwhelmed that he would come for me, right? And that he would die for me. He wanted to make sure that we could get back to him, right? God wanted to make sure that that path was smooth, fast, and easy to get to God. As a matter of fact, it's so easy to get to God. All we have to do is go, "Hey God," and sometimes it's more like screaming as we slide into the bedroom on our knees. God, I need some help, right? And so, but He wants that relationship with us. I've been thinking a lot about that a lot this weekend, just about the relationship. And this morning, what I was thinking about, and I didn't actually even read it, but I opened my Bible to Daniel, and I was talking to a friend over the weekend about we were talking about Daniel and some I don't remember. Oh, she's teaching a class on Daniel or something, and we talked about Daniel a little bit. And so this morning, as I woke up, and I was just like, have you ever just wanted to give up? Now I don't want to give up. Don't call me thinking I'm feeling sorry for myself for wanting to get. There's no. I don't have that option. I've tried to give up. To be honest, there's been several times when the journey just gets so hard. I just want to give up, but there's just something inside of me that I can't, right? And sometimes that's been frustrating because I've wanted to say, I don't think faith works, just throw it away. Well, hold on. Okay, God, now I need some help with this. So I always find myself going back to Him, even in those moments of despair where I think He's not listening. I think He surely doesn't care anymore. He just put us here in this little ecosystem and said, good luck. When I feel like that sometimes, and yet I just can't not believe. I just can't give up. But I have those moments. They don't last long usually, thankfully. But I have those moments of, do you even hear me? Oh, we see it all through the Psalms. We've talked about it several times. And so this morning I don't remember why I was thinking about Daniel, but I was thinking about Daniel. I was thinking about his life, and because whether we have a big event that changes our life in a negative way, in a hardship that goes on forever, or we just have a series of things. I tend to have both. I don't know why that happens, but with Chris, it's just been one ongoing struggle. Right? It's a battle. It's a battle that doesn't quit. Now everybody quits worrying about it because it becomes normal, but it's kind of like living in the hospital. It's like there's always it's always in crisis mode to a degree, even though it becomes normal, and so it can be ongoing like that. But I know even in that, sometimes I'll have days where, good grief, this went wrong, that went wrong, this went wrong, and it feels like there's just a million things coming at you. And so, no, whether you're in the middle of a big struggle or there's just stuff coming at you all the time, there's always, you can give up. You have the ability to give up. You have the ability to say, I don't want to trust you anymore, God. But I looked at, but that doesn't make any sense, especially when you get in the middle of something, right? But I thought back about Daniel, and I was like, he was taken as a youth. And it wasn't just Daniel and Ananias, Azariah, and what's the other dude's name, Mishael. It wasn't just these four. They took a whole generation, and they rendered them unable to have children. That meant he couldn't dream about marrying the perfect bride. He couldn't dream about having a family. That was something that couldn't be put back. right? He lost big. He lost his ability to dream about all of that. And yet we see him here in the first chapter of Daniel, and he purposed in his heart to stay true to God. And we see him later in what's that, chapter 7 with the lion's den? Is it 6, 5, 6? Where, whichever chapter it is here. He goes to the lion's den. Must be, okay, chapter 6. And still, they said, if you pray to any other god other than the king, you're gonna die. And he said, and it says, as his custom was, he went and prayed about it. Oh, let me go check on. Let me go ask what God thinks about that. He was dedicated to a life of prayer. Man, would I like to have some of those prayers written down, right? What if he had written that? And even that, I'm like, why is the book of Daniel in the Bible, right? Because he didn't win. Now he ministered to kings, but he wasn't in the lineage of Christ. He couldn't be because it stopped with him. He couldn't carry that, right. He wasn't. I don't even know who he was related to. I don't do good with all those kind of things. But man, what a major role he played, even in the scriptures, even in the midst of his troubled journey, right? He was forced to serve the king. He had no dreams, no visions. Those were all taken away. And yet we find at the end of Daniel, so we've taken all the way through the Daniel, all the way in just like 6 minutes, right? And at the end of the Daniel, he goes, "Hey God, I was reading what you told Jeremiah." That meant he purposed. He had to go find that. They didn't have a million selling, many a million sales of Bibles back then. He had to have purposefully preserved that and kept it so he could read it. But he said, God, I was reading. You told Jeremiah 70 years, and I've been counting. It's been 70 years. When are you coming for us? When do we get out of this? He was always seeking God in the middle of lions' dens, being forced into slavery, and at the end of his life. But he ministered to kings, even though he was in a foreign land. As a matter of fact, where is that scripture? I believe it's in Ezekiel, and it says Daniel, Job, and Noah. God gives those three. He's in those three that he says, these people are so bad that I'm not listening to anybody. I ain't even saving nobody unless if it would take if Daniel was there, Noah was there, or Job was there, I would talk to them. I ain't talking to nobody else. Is what God said. He was in those God's top three. How did God remember all of them even? Right? Was that Ezekiel? I think so. Anyway, and so I'm like, what a man of character. What a man of, I'm not giving up if even if my dreams are dashed against, are thrown away. If I don't even if my ability to dream has been taken away, it's stolen, right? Even if my emotions are raw, even if I'm in a horrible situation that just doesn't get any better, even if I face a lion's den, even if I'm at the 70-year mark, I'm going, hey God, you said we'd get out of here in 70 years. What's up? What's up with that? What a testimony of just trusting God and never giving up, no matter what. I mean, we can read, what's this, about 13 chapters, I think, in Daniel. I don't know, let me look, make sure. That's 12. 12 chapters in Daniel. We can read this and maybe, matter of fact, I'm going to read it probably this morning. I'm going to just sit down and read the whole book. and, but, we can read it in maybe, depending on your reading speed, of course, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, you know, if because my problem is when I read, I think of something, I go, oh my goodness, think about that, and I go off on it. Then I have to come back and read, right? So it takes me longer sometimes, even though I'm a pretty fast reader. But we can read it in a half hour, 45 minutes, or something like that, right? And yet, this was his life. This was 70 years, and he never gave up. And he did not have pleasant circumstances. If Daniel can find peace in captivity, surely we can find God's peace in our freedom, right? Because right now we're still mostly free, right? But Daniel knew freedom was here, not out here. Daniel knew peace was here, not out there. Daniel knew God wanted that relationship with him, and that's why he prayed every day. And we're, I don't know what he prayed. And we got a couple of prayers in here that he prayed when and repented for the nation. That's a big one, in I think chapter 9, and things like that. But when somebody would say, okay, y'all all got to interpret this dream or you're all going to die, Daniel would go, okay, give me a minute because God knows. So hold on. God knows, and I know God, so I'll be right back. And he would go, and God would give him the dream and the interpretation. Isn't that crazy? You know, he how did that happen? He's not even in the New Testament. That is somebody who knew God and didn't give up. So I don't know if you're facing something hard today, if you're facing something. If you're not, wait till tomorrow, okay? Come back and watch this later. Maybe you're facing a whole bunch of little things. Maybe you're facing something big. The world is facing big stuff. So even if you're not, somebody is, right? Go move to Ukraine. Call me later, right? There's things going on. And yet, what a testimony here we have in Daniel of someone who just chose, whoops, who just chose to know God. He just chose to know God. And he stood by that and stood with it for 70 years. At least, I don't know how long he actually lived, right? I'll have to get my Josephus out and see what he says about Daniel. I want to be like that. Whether things are smooth, whether things are rough, whether things whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whether I'm fighting off depression, whether I'm fighting this or that, or need help in this or help in that, or I'm lonely, whatever you're fill in the blank. I need help with whatever that blank is. Look at Daniel. He just trusted God, and he couldn't dream. We still have that, right? No matter how hard our situations are, we can still dream. We can still trust God. And so I just encourage you today to press in through whatever you're facing today and get a hold of the same God that Daniel knew. Because he knew God had the answers. Oh, you need a dream interpreted? Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, God. You don't know what the writing on the wall is? Hold on. God. You don't know what to do with this? Hold on. God. And he called on God, and God answered. We would have thrown Daniel away. He doesn't meet our criteria. He can't have a family. He couldn't build a house. He didn't have his own kingdom. God promoted him. God promoted him right there in the middle of, just like Joseph. Look at these two, parallels. I'm gonna have to look at these two, and we look at parallels because Joseph was in a similar situation, and yet he became second in the nation. Daniel became second in the nation, made people jealous because he wasn't supposed to be there by their standards. Man, no matter what's going on in your life, you can trust God. He's got you. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And if you ain't got peace today, stop for a minute. Take a deep breath. And just start with something as simple as, hey, God, and he's right there. And grab that peace. Let it reign in your heart. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.